So, back for another boring video. I wanted to talk about the word now in your writing, in my writing. The word now sometimes can be strongly deictic, which again means that it can point. The word now can point to we call a temporal center, or a center point in time in our story or in our narrative. We don't always want that. We don't want strongly deictic words in our stories. I talked before about the words like today, tomorrow, yesterday being strongly deictic. The trouble is that our stories have a narrator who is the speaker in our story, or somebody that's outside the story telling us the story, and strongly deictic words, it could disrupt the immersiveness of the story. So let's just look at some examples of when the word now in your narrative might be too strongly pointing to a temporal center in the story. Make a text box. Let's say you write in your story and you said he needed to find Hulda now, but he could not find his boat. Okay. So in this example, the word now is talking about immediately, right away. And that's one way we can kind of tell if the word is creating a temporal center. If the word now is creating a temporal center, does the word now mean immediately in this sentence? Does it mean right away in this sentence? And if it does, then you're creating a temporal center, and that might be a problem. Let's do another example. Similar usage or idea. Right now, he could use one of his mother's warm apple tarts. Okay, again, right now in this sentence means right at this moment. So, that's another word phrase you could throw in that would mean the same thing, right at this moment, instead of right now. If it means that, that's your meaning, then you're put in a now that's strongly deictic and might be disruptive. But you don't need now. You can just use words like immediately and at this moment. Interestingly, immediately at this moment, they're not strongly deictic in the sense that they are more like markers on our progression in the sequence of events, instead of saying, okay, there's somebody's point of view that we're bringing in that's marking this place as that's supposed to say now. Anyway, they don't do that so much. They simply mark progression in the story at this moment. Oh, well, at this moment, actually, that's strongly deictic. What am I saying? If we had said at that moment, that would be a better way to word it, to keep it from being overly deictic. We'd have to rephrase, of course, right now, or right at that moment, he could have used one of his mother's warm apple tarts. Anyway, less deictic. So let me tell you now when the word now is less deictic in a sentence. So let me throw you an example here. Let's say we say the sun had fallen below the mountain, and the travelers now searched for shelter. Okay, here we're using the word now, just like before, except now isn't meant to mean immediately in this sentence. It's meant to mean something more like from that point forward. So it's just a transition word, essentially. It's just marking a point in the story, saying, okay, now from this point forward, that point forward here, this is what they're doing. Sun had fallen below the mountain, and the travelers from that point forward searched for shelter. So that's what the meaning is. Now that doesn't mean we couldn't replace now with the word immediately there and have it still make sense. We said, and the travelers immediately searched for shelter. But that actually changes the sense of what we mean when we wrote it, right? But knowing that we just meant from that point forward, that can help us see that now is just being used as a transition word and is going to cause us absolutely no trouble with our reader. Let me just give a similar example. Having now defeated the dragon, Sir Ulrich turned his attention to the missing princess. Oh, mighty Sir Ulrich. Okay, but again, the word now is not saying immediately. That's not what we mean there. We just mean having, at this point, defeated the dragon, right? Sir Ulrich turned his attention to the missing princess. So there's another clump of words at that point. If that's essentially what it means, having at that point defeated the dragon, Sir Ulrich turned his attention to the missing princess. The word now, just transitional, fits in a lot better with this narrator speaking to us, so we can use that without having to worry about creating problems. So again, if the word now is creating this immediate sense of obligation, strongly deictic, I would recommend avoiding it. But if the word now is just helping us transition in the story, then it's safe to use. Hope this makes sense and isn't dumb, and that you're having a great day. Bye.